How's it going, everybody? I am Preston Johnson.
Welcome to
Last Word Cheetah, brought to you by Bets TV.
That's a general philosophy.
That's exactly right. You're a fish.
Qwan, by the way, my producer, Qwan Young, doing a good job. He'll be taking the calls. How you doing today, bud?
Hey, man, how are you?
We appreciate you guys tuning in. Welcome to the show, Bets TV, bringing you Last Word Cheetah. Welcome to another edition of Last Word Cheetah, brought to you by Bets TV. I am Preston Johnson, hanging out here in the Bets TV studios with the Qwan Young, who is producing, co-hosting, twinkle waving on this wonderful Wednesday. How are you doing, man? How's life?
I'm great, man.
You said you slept well. You went to bed early. You had like the best workout you've ever had.
Got through it in like 35 minutes. It's normally an hour because I don't want to be there and I got to do cardio. Cardio is the worst. Absolute, like 100%.
Seconded.
Yeah. So, but I'm having a good morning. We got practice tomorrow.
For flag football
for flag football.
Okay.
2-0 the Wildcats. Then game Friday. I got a kickball game Friday. And
forgot that season started back up again.
Yeah. They lost last week without me. They were complaining.
Of course they did.
Yeah. But Saturday, I'm making my triumphant, hopefully, return to football. Going to play a little beach flag football, try to go for about 200 yards on somebody.
I mean, if you need someone to go 200 yards on, invite me.
I got
this guy on lockdown. It just burned by me.
I got a hamstring issue, so we got to get through that.
Dude, I'm already so slow anyway, but in the sand, I just get destroyed. Here's the thing. Back when I was always like bigger, slower, I was never fast.
Uh-huh.
I didn't used to be fat, but I mean, I was still like big and tall and slower.
Yeah.
So like, I remember like playing in college, like flag football, intramural, and I would say like I'll play safety, which doesn't really make sense because you need speed to play safety. But for flag football, I felt like my strength was being able to read where the quarterback was going to go with the ball, and I would just pick off a ton of passes. And I'm pretty tall back there, and I could get to the spot. But I was like worthless, like rushing the quarterback who could just scoot around me, and like so it was like a waste. And no one ever really like wanted me to play safety. And I remember I finally like convinced some guys in a couple games, and sure enough, we were better on defense. But that's my claim to fame of defense football. What did you play defensive back? Corner?
My tackling, I sweep tackle. Like I didn't wrap up. I just went in and took the legs out. So
you missed so many tackles. Otherwise,
I was one of the greatest tacklers in the history. I promise you, I got like 193 tackles from the cornerback position. I played outside linebacker. They blitzed me. I was
one of the greatest sweep tacklers in the history of football.
In the history of, I will put my tape against anybody on sweep tackles.
I will have to look at YouTube later on and find these sweep tackle highlights. I didn't even know that. That's like a thing the coaches should be yelling at you, like, wrap them up.
No.
Wrap them up. Quan's like, hell no.
Hell no. Listen, man, I was 5'7", 180 pounds. Everybody out there was bigger than me. I got jumped over once, so.
You're 5'7"?
Come on, man. Let's start the show. Ty, call in. Tone, call in. Somebody.
All right. We will open up the line, 661-515 bets. As usual, we take your calls. We talk through your bets. We got week 3 college football, week 2 NFL, baseball today as well. We track them throughout the month. We give away cash, which, by the way, so far there's only $50 in the September prize pool. But today, Qwan has 2 shots, these little jars up here, plastic jars. They are field goal posts. Qwan has 2 shots at putting a paper football from range through $100 each time I'll put into the prize pool for September. He's going to take them. I'm not sure if he's going to announce it or if he's just going to start firing when he has a break. But anyway, potentially $200 more during the show going in to the prize pool. So this is Last Word Cheetah. And again, at the end of the month, whoever's top caller, top ROI, which I believe is Andrew still right now, based on the weekend, bunch of plays locking in so far this week, 4 more weekend games coming up. After Sunday, we'll have another updated leaderboard, but Andrew's in first, and we're trying to give him some extra cash. We still need to do some sort of contest between Qwan and I, though, on the football field. If anyone has ideas, we got to figure it out. Who's up? Someone call in? Oh, Tone just gearing up. Couldn't wait. Put him through. What's up, Tone? How are you doing this lovely Wednesday?
Yesterday, I might have to give myself a suspension. Not a minute after I called yesterday and asked for Wolfsburg, they got a red card.
I saw that. Someone was putting it in the YouTube channel.
The U.S. international guy on Wolfsburg, this Bundesliga team, but literally not a minute later.
Do you think they were listening to your call and then they got the red card because of that?
It had to be correlated. There's no other way to describe it.
That's what I was thinking. Even your live baseball bets have been phenomenally bad. Like 4 runs immediately after you hang up.
You couldn't even get a line the one time I hung up. They were already down 4-0.
I know. Is there live soccer going on right now?
Oh, yeah. It's like Champions League during the middle of the week. Let me get Inter live. They're playing Real Madrid. They're around like plus 145, plus 150.
Have you been watching the rest of the match?
Oh, I've been watching all the matches.
All right, I'm pulling it up. Jeez, there's a ton going on. Yeah, plus 150. 0-0. Second half just started, it looks like.
Yup, book it.
All right, plus 150. Tone locking it in. Appreciate the call, man. Talk to you later. By the way, before we take some other calls, I meant to announce before we got into Qwan's life. Who Wants to Be a Betting Extraordinaire? Day 1 in about an hour. Resets. Ready. Carlos lost yesterday. We talked about the Blue Jays' bats being hot, so he chose that for the most runs in the 3 baseball games. Sure enough, they get shut out by the Rays. So, Carlos fails day 3 to level up. We open up the phone lines in an hour for anybody and everybody. Still got to think of a question, by the way, Qwan. There's no more football, so we got to do one more baseball question, and then we'll have football the next few days. Who's up next? Go ahead and put him through.
We got Tom Davis.
Tom, how's it going, man? How's your Wednesday?
All good, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you. What do you got for us?
I sort of want to go back to that way over that Clemson. You got me scared. What do you think about the Baylor? The Bears.
The Bears?
The Baylor Bears.
Let me pull it up. Just full game, right?
Yes, sir. I believe it's 153, if that helps.
Yeah, 153 minus 17.5. I don't have anything personally in that game.
Damn, it went up. What do you see it first half?
It was 16 at one point back on Sunday, I think. Moved to 17, and now it's been trickling up even more the last 2 days.
Yeah, let's go on and lock it in with the Baylor Bears.
You just think Kansas is that bad, or what's the angle here?
Weak as kittens. Weak as a newborn kitten. I believe Baylor's they look good. I watched some of the games and they look pretty strong.
I had an edge against Texas State. I laid it with Baylor actually, and that was a fail. They only won by 9. Texas State backdoored. Probably should have been a W. They got 2 4th and 10s, including one roughing the passer on the final drive with a minute left that would have ended the game. So because Baylor roughed the passer, Texas State gets the drive to stay alive, and they end up going and scoring. So I'm upset about Baylor because of that, but that doesn't mean they can't cover for you against Kansas. So we'll lock you in minus 17.5.
Exactly what I was fixing to tell you. They throw that flag and kept them alive, pitying them, and let them get in there and score that last drive.
Yeah, that should have been a W, but it's all right. That happens. Thanks, Tom. We'll talk to you later on.
Get them Dodgers in there. Peace.
Does he say that now, like every call? He mentions the Dodgers.
He said the Dodgers taking it home.
They got, let's see, back-to-back W's now over the D-backs, 4-5. This is, again, they've won 5 in a row, but the Giants never lose anyway. So did the Giants lose yesterday? They had won 8 straight. I finally looked, and we were talking about it. Yep, of course they did. So they've won 9 in a row. They just never lose. How do you catch them when the team bats 1,000? Like, it's just impossible. All right, who's up next?
We got Alex from Ohio.
Alex, how's it going, man? Welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
Doing well. Thank you. What do you have for us today?
I'm going to take the Chiefs on the spread against the Ravens.
Ooh, hopefully people were listening earlier this week on Monday. I said, hey, look, I like the Raiders against the Ravens. You also can buy the Chiefs at minus 2.5. Now, if you think the Ravens are going to, show poorly, a lot going on with the Ravens, personnel issues. Now it's 3.5 basically across the board. So hopefully that pays off for people. Why else do you like it? I mean, outside of I just thought the number was going to end up being low. Any reason to love it at 3.5 as well?
I just love when the Ravens go against the Chiefs because I see it as like they're discounting the Chiefs for you. You can buy low on the Chiefs whenever they play the Ravens.
It happened last year. Do you remember that game? Everyone talked about how Andy Reid opened up the playbook because it was a game that mattered. And they were running like all sorts of stuff, screen, bubble, misdirection, and it was fantastic to watch. I hope it's the same. It'll be a fun Sunday night game. I have it about fair, though. So for me, it's a pass, but I hope you're right. I hope there's some sort of misvaluation of the Chiefs against the Ravens, like you alluded to. Either way, yeah, it'll be a fun game. We'll lock you in for that minus 3.5, minus 106, actually. So a little cheaper on that side, too, at a couple spots.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man. Have a good one. Take it easy.
You too.
Move this out of the way. Who's up next, Qwan? Who do we got? Joey from Jersey, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. What's going on?
Nothing much. Watching the screen light up on the Carolina-New Orleans game. Just a shout out. Everyone's betting the over there right now for some reason. People are following along.
Right.
Regardless, what do you have for us? What do you like?
So I like Utah. What's the best line you got for their spread?
We talked about that one on Monday, too, when it used to be -7. I saw it was like 9.5
I already
now.
locked it in on myself, but I see an 8.5 on FanDuel.
Oh, okay. There was a little buyback
back. Better.
Yeah. I can give you the -8.5.
All right. Give me that. Lock me in.
Cool. Easy enough. Any reason? Are you fading San Diego State, playing Utah off the embarrassing loss?
Yeah, embarrassing loss. And San Diego State, I think their passing game's weak, and I think Utah's going to stuff their run pretty good, keep them in a lot of third and longs, and they should control the game pretty well.
Beautiful. I agree. I like the Utes this weekend. We'll lock you in, -8.5. Thanks, Joey. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
You too. Patrick, welcome back to the show, man. What do you have for us today?
Hey, what's going on, Preston? Hey, you know what? My Cardinals have snuck into that second wild card spot. We may have to have a little friendly wager when the Dodgers beat them by about 15 runs in the wild card game.
Actually, here, hold on. Let's take a minute for this because radio yesterday, I think I was listening to Mad Dog. They did a whole 30 minutes on the MLB because of this situation with the Dodgers, probably changing the one-game wild card rule. Because how bad would it be for baseball for the Dodgers to be 20 games better in the regular season than whoever they face, and then after one game they're out of the playoffs and LA's not in the playoffs? It's bad for baseball. So they were going on and on about that. I don't know if they're really going to change the rule or not, but if it happens, look, I'm trying to get to my 50-pound goal still this year, but I will still do a friendly wager with you of some sort. If it's Cardinals Dodgers, we can take the penny midpoint no vig line or something at close and just so it's fair as possible.
Man, it really is unfair in a 162-game season for there to be a one-game playoff.
The variance is
football,
so high.
17-game season. It's ridiculous. Even with Scherzer, it'd probably be Scherzer against Flaherty, probably. It's. But
you have Bueller just in case to come out of the pen if you need to for the last few innings.
They have Bueller as a backup. It's it's insane. And with that lineup too, but you never know what's going to happen in a one-game series.
You guys are -12 run differential this season. You're, obviously 6 games over 500, so you're in the mix. You're ahead of the Reds. But, yeah, to go from the Dodgers, best run differential in baseball, one-game shot against a team that might end up negative run differential, it'd be funny to laugh at. I think you'd have a lot of people on the analytics side, and maybe the line will be pretty shaded high. Oh, you got to bet the Cardinals. It's one game. Just because it's one game, the Dodgers could definitely lose. And I honestly feel like the line will it'll for sure be in the -200s, I imagine, in that setup. And
I tell you, over the last 2 decades, the Cardinals won a World Series having an 86-game win season. So, this team, they do come through in situations like that when they're not supposed to, when they're the underdog. So who knows? For
a while, you guys had the Kershaw's number. I remember a lot of those Kershaw failing in the playoff games were 7th innings where the Cardinals just went to town. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I remember. What do you got for us, though, by the way, for
too,
football?
trust me. Today, you know what? Let's go to the Steelers. I don't know if there's any fives left. I think I'll probably have to have a 5.5. But
Take a gander.
man, the situation is so poor for the Raiders, coming off that Monday night win, that emotional Monday night win, going all the way across the country to play an early game on Sunday against the Steelers. I wish the Steelers would have lost week 1, maybe get a more favorable number.
Get a 4 or 5.
I don't understand. I don't understand how the Ravens did not put any pressure on David Carr with that line. I mean, T.J. Watt is going to feast in this game. I mean, Denzel Good, or what? I think it's Denzel Good. He's out. I mean, he tore his ACL, so that weak line is already weakened now. I think they're going to neutralize Darren Waller, and I don't see how Derek Carr has any time.
You saw the move down from 48.5 to 47. Look, even that game against the Ravens was way lower scoring. And then that fourth quarter was one of those where they kept tying it and they kept scoring, taking the lead, tying it so that it went over because of overtime, right? Because I'm not surprised this moved down from 48.5 to 47, partly in correlation with your play on Pittsburgh.
And it's not like the Steelers' offense looked dynamic against the Bills either. So, I mean, I hate taking that many points, but, I mean, I just don't think the Raiders are going to score. I really don't. I'm
intrigued. You're going to get a team total of like 20.5, maybe even 21.5, depending on how.
I see 20.5 right now. But I'm just gonna go with the game straight up though.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just kind of talking it through in my own head too. I don't disagree, but 5.5 is what I have to give you. I don't see any 5s anymore, so I'll give you that.
That's fine.
Minus 108, and yeah, we'll lock you in. Good luck, man.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
What do we got up next? What's up, Hayden? Welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, what's up? Doing well. Just a couple quick hitters. MLS, back to the MLS well. Cincinnati +1.
Hold on. Were you the one that bet that under last night, the Inter-Miami match?
Yeah.
Did it go under? I haven't checked.
Oh, yeah. It was 0-1.
Easy game. Well done. Okay.
Time. It was a penalty.
All right. So then tell us real quick. What is it tonight that you like?
Cincinnati +1.
Ooh, okay. Let me pull up spreads on my screen. +1, minus 107. That's the best price. Cool. Okay.
Nice.
Why is that? Any reasoning behind it?
Not really, just a model play for me. Cincinnati, they're like kind of low on the table, but they have good XG stats. And then the market's always low on them for some reason. So it's just kind of value there.
Fair enough. Are they one of those? I don't follow soccer. I definitely don't bet it. So they one of like the expected goals kind of breakers where they're just not like regressing yet, and so.
Yeah, that, and then they've had a lot of games where they've lost in the last like minutes when they've been up 1 or 2 goals. It's kind of unbelievable.
Okay.
But yeah.
Easy enough. Anything else you wanted to say? I know you mentioned a couple notes.
Oh, and then another Florida team in the MLS, another sure under team, Orlando City under 2.5.
Okay, just 1 second, pulling the total up for that. I can give you a 2.75 even on that, actually. So I have a question. Do you prefer one or the other? For today, you can only lock in one for the contest.
Yeah, I prefer the half just because I think it's at +120.
No, which match do you prefer, Cincinnati or the under?
Oh, Cincinnati for sure.
Okay, then we'll give you that one, but a bonus for the under in Orlando City if it comes through. Sounds good, man. Good luck tonight.
See ya.
Talk to you later. We need to start betting these soccer plays, I think. I got a good feeling. I don't know. He just seems like he's on top of it. All right, Matthew, welcome to Last Word, Cheetah. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. What do you got for us today?
So it's only my second time calling in. I don't know all the rules and everything, but are we able to do like a 2-team teaser?
We can. You want to do NFL, I'm guessing?
Yeah, tomorrow night's game. I like taking it up to Giants 9.5 and taking it down over 34.5. The numbers I'm seeing right now.
Yep, I can give you that exact teaser. You're theoretically not supposed to tease totals. This is an extremely low total, though. So 34.5, you would hope they can get over it in prime time. Break down the game, though, for us a little bit. Heineke's going to be playing quarterback, no Fitzpatrick. I'm guessing you just see points regardless.
Yeah, I think as early as it is in the season, you could almost state this is almost a must-win game for these two teams if they want any chance to make a run in this division. I think the Giants are going to open up Saquon a little bit more, and I don't think Heineke is that much of a downgrade from Fitzpatrick. As long as Gibson's good to go, I don't see why 35 is not a reachable number. And then I like the Giants to keep it within a score. So that's kind of how I feel about that.
All right, I'm not sure if you follow Pikachu. We've had him on the show a few times. I know you said this is only your second time calling. He loves the prime time teaser and teasing totals, even though it's minus EV. So he approves. He just messaged me. He loves you, Matthew. Good luck. We'll lock you in for that. And talk to you tomorrow.
Awesome. I'll have to give him a follow. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Take care. Congrats, Pikachu. You might have a new follower in your troll account that isn't even your deleted one or banned one, whatever it is. Who's up next, Qwan? Nick from Iowa. What's up, man? Welcome back. How are you doing?
Doing good, Preston. How are you?
I'm doing well. What do you got for us today?
We're going back to college football and a couple very, very interesting movements in literally the last hour. Right now, I see Cincinnati is even as low as 3 against Indiana, and I like Cincinnati a lot. I'm shocked this came back down to 3.5 most places, but I think but there is a 3, at least at Bookmaker there is. So I don't know if you can give me that.
Yeah, what's the juice? Do you have it in front of you?
It's minus 115. Yeah, I was going to add that.
That's fine. We'll track that. Here's an interesting discussion point. I've had at least 2 people message me this week the same exact thing. What is wrong with the Cincinnati line? What is going on with the Cincinnati line? Something
right.
to that nature. And I personally, I know there's rumors that Penix Jr. isn't 100%. Obviously, he didn't look as good in the opener against Iowa. And then I think they played an FCS game last week, right? They were fine. But it really comes down to that. If he's 100%, IU at home against Cincinnati, and I have Cincinnati the best group of 5 non-power 5 school, I think 3 is actually fair. But if there's some sort of downside to Penix not being able to be 100%, either run as well or efficiently, not throw it accurately, then Cincinnati's the side for sure. I just don't know. I'm staying away. But give us your 30 seconds on the game why you like Cincy.
Sure. So this is more of an Indiana fade. And honestly, so Penix, the whole thing, I honestly don't – even if Penix is 100%, I still think Cincinnati should be bigger favorites than that. Actually, I even saw this that Bill Connolly put out his SP Plus numbers today, and he has Cincinnati minus 10. Now, I'm not that high on it, but I'll say this, Indiana's numbers last year, I thought there was a ton of regression coming. I mean, you talk about – and it's – I mean, they had obviously a big they were really high in the turnover margin, and also it's because some of their big wins, their big win against Wisconsin at the end of the year, that Wisconsin team was so beat up and had so many COVID issues at that point. It was ridiculous. They had no wide receivers. So I think some of their improvement last year was kind of flawed. So I was just kind of down on Indiana in general coming into the season. So that's why I'm on Cincinnati here at 3.
That's mostly the right sentiment on IU coming in. They were ranked top 10 at one point last year. They weren't a top 10 team. They're probably a top 25-ish team. But here's my question to you then. I'm not sure if you were following Saturday. I'm pretty sure Cincinnati was down 7 in the second quarter to Murray State. Now they woke up.
Yep.
They won 35-0 in the second half, something like that. They win 42-7. Were they looking ahead to this game? Were you a little worried that they just didn't show up? What was going on there, you think? Were you following that Murray State game at all?
I did see. I thought it was 7-7 at halftime.
It was.
I didn't watch. I'll admit I did not watch the game, but I was tracking along and I looked at the box score and all that. In the end, I honestly, it doesn't really concern me whether they were looking ahead or they just slept walk for a little bit and kind of a look ahead spot to their next 2 big games, quite frankly. But or was it they got because they play? I think they play Indiana and Notre Dame back to back now, don't they?
Yeah, both on the road, if I recall, too. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, it's kind of funny because I don't even think I'm super high on Cincinnati. It's funny. I'm actually kind of just anti-Indiana and Notre Dame, just kind of the way the numbers worked out for me this year. So maybe the stars are aligning for Cincy. But yeah, that doesn't concern me though, to answer your question though, as far as like were they sleepwalking or whatever in that look ahead spot.
Wonderful. Appreciate the call, Nick. We'll talk to you later on. Good luck. We'll lock you in -3, -115.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one, guys.
You too. Qwan was giggling. Look, were you referring to my Cincinnati 13-0 theory where they beat Indiana?
The anti-Indiana, anti-Notre Dame.
Yeah, just like
that's pretty much on par.
Here's the thing. We talked about it. If they go 13-0, not only winning the AAC and just like crushing everyone in that conference, but they have road wins back-to-back weeks against Indiana and Notre Dame. This is the question I phrase you. Do they have a shot at the playoff? I know it's dependent on a bunch of other teams losing. Well, look, Ohio State already did lose. Maybe something happens.
Wide open.
But here's the thing. Is Indiana actually going to be that good? And is Notre Dame, who's looked horrible, and we were pretty bearish on Notre Dame. So the real question was, can they luck into beating both teams and both still finishing with like double-digit wins? And it's just not going to happen. Indiana's not winning 10-plus games. Notre Dame, they might, but like they're barely scraping by. So I don't think it's as likely as it was before the year started, but I think it's more likely now that Cincinnati does run the table.
Yeah.
Because they're playing an Indiana and Notre Dame team that just haven't looked very good yet. So in general,
I don't think you can leave out a 13-0 team after Ohio State went down already, and I'm pretty sure everything seems wide open.
I hope you're right. Like if Oregon loses and there's no undefeated team in the Pac-12, Ohio State loses at least one.
4.
Can you get them a 4 spot?
Yeah.
Especially if, say, there's a weird like Alabama upset somewhere. They're probably getting Clemson might lose a game. They didn't, they already lost to Georgia, but they might lose an ACC game too. They have 2 losses. Do they go in over Cincinnati, who's undefeated? Anyway, we'll see. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is still just as likely. Indiana and Notre Dame just haven't looked good, so I'm not sure those wins will show as much to the committee at the end. Who's up next? Who do we got? Jim, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
Good. I actually got a question first.
Yep.
Do you see the Chiefs-Ravens line moving anymore?
So I'll preface with this. I was wrong yesterday with Colin, and I actually did Ed Fang's podcast, and I mentioned I tried to read the market, and I'm right more often than not, but I didn't think anyone would hurry and blast Florida plus 15.5 against Bama. And I was like, wait, maybe it trickles up. Now it's 14.5 everywhere. So I was wrong on that, but I will say this. There were some 4s that were showing for Ravens and Chiefs, and it's kind of been bet back down to 3.5. So I think if anything, it would only go towards the 3 more. So if you do like the Chiefs, waiting probably is okay. I think the move from 4 to 3.5 was legitimate. I don't think it was like a setup for someone to come in now and lay 3.5 on the road with the Chiefs. So from that standpoint, I think if that's what you're getting at, which is kind of maybe what I was sensing.
No,
you can maybe
actually,
wait.
And I don't mean to fade that other caller, but I am all Ravens on this game.
Ooh, okay. Tell us why.
I was hoping it would go up because I would love to get plus 200 on the money line. But if I can get 175, I'm going to go for their money line here.
I can give you 175, or there's one spot that has 4 still, if you prefer that. But plus,
I would like to know the Ravens inside tip he has.
You think it's inside information?
Yeah. He seems pretty confident.
Yeah. I mean, the Chiefs got dominated, absolutely dominated by the Browns. And this Ravens game, I mean, I know there was a lot of eyes on it and everybody saw it, but Derek Carr at one point was like 18 of 30 for like 140 yards.
Trash.
And the coverage was really good when I rewatched the game. I think they just kind of got wore out. And
Sure.
if you take out Max Crosby abusing Villanueva, I mean, the Ravens probably moved the ball all game on them.
Yeah. That's bad.
So,
Look,
I mean, in the trenches, I think they're going to dominate the Chiefs here. I really do. And that was a Mahomes miracle that I don't think he can pull off again.
Look, the Ravens probably should have been up more than 14-0. I know Tone called yesterday and was complaining about that. And they also, Lamar fumbled, and they might just win the game regardless. That's in regulation, right, late, so that the Raiders could even go tie before the Ravens went on more points. Like, a lot of things could have happened. You never want to overreact to one game either direction. Maybe you're right about the Chiefs, and here's what it could be. Both teams aren't as good as we thought. The Browns are better than we thought, and we even talked about on Monday, like, hey, Eagles and Browns to win the division might be pretty good buys, especially the Browns after a loss in that division, with Pittsburgh winning and the Ravens obviously being 0-1 to start. Like, maybe it's worth looking at Browns. I could actually look up what the prices are now versus what they were before, but that's something to consider. I think the Browns are definitely a team that I would give more credit than I would discredit. Kansas City with an entirely new offensive line, by the way, that seemed to get a lot better as that game went along. So I'm totally staying away at this number, but we'll give you the plus 175 on the money line. I respect it. I don't think anyone's going to be betting the Ravens this week.
Yeah, I mean, I just like he said, people think, oh, this is an opportunity to buy the Chiefs low. Like, to me, this is I think it opened at like a pick or Chiefs -1, which, I mean, you're talking about the Ravens at home as a home underdog on Sunday night with the fans, like kind of that X factor. I don't know, man. I think I'll gladly take the plus 175.
So I never saw lower than -2.5. Maybe there was like a rogue something at one point over the summer, but this is week 2, so I'm not sure if they would have just been like a game of the year line or something. But I only saw -2.5 for the most part, and then it's moved through the 3 to the other side. But yeah, you could be right. I'll lock you in. Plus 175, man. Good luck.
All right, thanks.
Take care. Who do we got up next, Qwan? Ryan, what's up, man? Welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. What do you got for us today?
Well, first about the AFC North. I'm high on the Steelers because I think, sort of like when you were running through your college football previews, you mentioned, you like Northwestern overs because you trust Pat Fitzgerald to win games. Or Texas, you think it was a time to buy low, all of that stuff. Well, I bet a decent bit on the Steelers over their win total, just because Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. So, sure. I thought it was a prime time to grab the Steelers when everybody's saying they're in trouble and it's sort of the end of their being relevant. I still think they're going to challenge for the AFC North. Now their defense will obviously hold up. It's more of the offense and the offensive line, which they did address. They replaced 4 out of 5 starters. It's just all with young guys who are late round picks.
Yeah. I don't disagree necessarily. Obviously, after one big upset win in Buffalo, you're in great shape just to start there, especially for your season wins bet.
You got the Bengals twice, you got the Bears and the Lions, so that should be 5 wins right there. As far as
can they get 4 more somewhere? Yeah.
Yeah. And then Patrick, I got to defend myself because he said I was the most boring caller ever Friday on Last Word Cheetah when he was out in Vegas.
Yeah, he was a little tipsy.
Yeah. I mean, he's a St. Louis fan, and I think this is also a good time to buy the Cincinnati Reds.
Ryan
I
been
think
holding on.
Yeah, they should have Jesse Winker coming back, in this week or early next week, and they still play the Pirates 8 more times this year. So they lost last night. They played ugly, but I think they got a chance, and I'm also, Yadier Molina is not a Hall of Famer. I hate him.
Shots fired.
His B WAR, by the way, is almost exactly the same as Jason Kendall at catcher. And nobody's arguing Jason Kendall as a Hall of Fame candidate. So I don't see the Yadier Molina love.
What about
being
the
a great
pitch framing?
locker room guy.
What about the pitch framing?
Yeah,
that's what they'll say.
World-class pitch framer. That gets you in the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame pitch framer, Yadier Molina.
Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
I looked it up real quick. There's a couple spots you can get plus 130, plus money right now on the Reds to reach the playoffs. Now that they're behind 8 games against the Pirates, I like the handicap, especially. I thought the price would be worse. The Reds are a better team overall than the Cardinals. Not trying to dig on Patrick there. You probably agree.
You're still only a half game back.
Yep, plus 130 is pretty solid.
But my bet for the leaderboard would be the Reds tonight. I think around like minus 130. I know Gutierrez is struggling, but I think this is about as low of a line as you're going to see against the Pirates.
Let me just double check for you. Minus 129. I'll give you minus 129.
Okay.
Cool.
All
We'll
right,
lock it in.
sounds
Thanks
good.
for the call, man.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Take care.
He was hot this
You're right. He hadn't called in Monday or Tuesday, right? So yeah, he had been holding that.
He's sitting on it. Oh, this.
He's also like, oh wow, Cardinals.
Had
Yeah,
you talking
that worked
shit?
out perfectly. Yeah.
We got
Yadier Molina is not a Hall of Famer. That's as low of a blow you can give a St. Louis fan like that exists. Period. Who's up?
Ty.
Welcome to the show, Ty. How are you doing? What do you got for us today?
What's up, man? I'm going with the Baltimore Orioles first 5 on the money line, please.
Ooh, interesting. Kind of out of left field. I guess Means. I've always loved him since they brought him up. Money line first 5 plus 141. 141 is the best price.
Yeah, I'll take that. Our favorite mush is on the Yanks, so I'm going, and I don't trust the Orioles pen, so I'll take the first 5 money line. No data needed.
Last time you brought him up, you faded him live, like an in-game bet. What happened in that? Do you remember?
It got interesting, but I did not win. There were the team that was losing that I bet on live left a small village on base, and we lost.
All right, that's what it was. I think that's the first time though your fade has not
it's
worked
like
out.
4-1. Fading him is like 4-1.
Take it, but now you're getting plus 141. Roll with it.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Yep. Take care. Who's up next? We got a couple more.
Yeah, we do. Patrick called in and he wants to reply. So
We can give him a rebuttal real quick. Yeah, Patrick, you're on, man. What do you have?
9-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time World Series winner, 2,100 hits, 9-time All-Star. I mean, that speaks for itself. At a position, he's played the most innings as a catcher for one team in Major League history. It speaks for itself. I'm not going to entertain.
You are. You just called in immediately.
Immediately.
You know, I just spewed facts. That was it. I mean, it's open and shut case.
Look, I think he will be a
back
Hall
in
of
5
Famer.
years when he's in
But if I was trying to take a shot at St. Louis, like that was about as good as it gets. So I had to commend him for that.
Well,
but Molina
you know
will
what?
be in the Hall of Fame.
He
no
knows
doubt.
how to get under our skin. He knows
Yes.
how to get under our skin. So.
Well played.
But I do apologize for I didn't realize that was the guy that
Yeah, now you know. That's what Vegas does.
You know what? Honestly, it could have been anybody. So I apologize.
Sure, it was whoever was
for
calling
Ryan,
before you. Yeah.
Ryan. Yeah. So, all right, that's all I got.
Take it easy, Patrick. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Couple gin and tonics, and you get a little loose at the mouth.
It was funny too because he had just landed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was like
Blitzed on
getting going on the plane or something. Yeah.
We got Carlos.
Pre-game. Who's up? Carlos?
Yeah.
What's up, Carlos? Welcome to the show. What do you got for us today?
Oh, man, I'm going back to the WNBA. I am going to take the New York Liberty plus 13.
Money line?
No, plus the points.
You don't want 6 to 1?
crazy.
Okay.
No.
We'll give you plus
No,
13. That is the line. By the way, you did hit your WNBA yesterday, so well done.
I did.
But you lost your
That's 3
Who
straight
Wants to
for
Be.
me, Quan.
Yeah, I got you, Carlos.
You know, the
Okay,
only
bro.
reason that won is because I didn't do WNBA for the betting extraordinaire question for day 3. If I had switched it, you definitely wouldn't have won. So I'm not sure if you want to thank me or not. If you bet it for real in real life, you made some money. But we're resetting day 1 later today. Oh, by the way, Quan's about to fire his first. Carlos, thank you for the call. We'll hopefully talk to you later on. Quan's gearing up to fire a paper football. See, you have the camera on here.
Yeah.
People can judge. I mean, I'm right here.
We're about to split screen it.
See if Quan can figure this out.
All right, this is
Okay.
it.
If it goes through, it's $100 to the prize pool from me.
Ooh,
That's a miss. That
I-
was wide right. Wide right, per usual. Kicker life. You have something to say about kickers. You want to take back to back, or do you
I'll
want
take
to?
back-to-back. I
'Cause
got-
you got a
this is
feel.
slow.
All right, he's definitely going wide left this time.
I hit my finger. Oh man,
That was as a shank as
man.
possible in the
I'm
game of
sorry,
paper
guys.
football.
I could have got you 200.
We'll run it back tomorrow. We'll go $100 if they go in tomorrow. We'll leave them up. That was embarrassing, though. All right. Andrew, put him through. What's up, man? Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing well. What do you got for us today?
I wanted to get your opinion on the Cincy UI game.
We were just talking about it with another caller. I think it was Nick about 10 minutes ago. So if you weren't listening,
Okay, I didn't hear that.
listen back, forward maybe 25 to 30 minutes into the show. And we talked about it for like 5 minutes.
I can do that.
Do you have an opinion yourself?
Well, I mean, Cincy looks like the side here. I think whenever IU was originally ranked, that was for past achievement awards. This team is not the same as last year. Michael Penix had a pretty good year. They were really good in close games. Since he's returning most of their top talent, especially a quarterback in Desmond Ridder. He's a dark horse for a Heisman, I suppose, but they would have to go undefeated for that even to be the case. I know the number's gone up from 2 to, I think it should be around 4 now.
It's down again, which is why he called in. It got bet back down. There's a 3 minus 115, but it's 3.5 most spots now. But if you want, I can give you 3 minus 115. That's what Nick took on Cincinnati, which is kind of where we started getting into more of the discussion. I feel like I'm the only one that doesn't like Cincinnati. I don't like Indiana either. I'm staying away. But everyone I've talked to this week's like, why is this line so low? Why is this line so low? And I'm probably just behind on adjusting for the Hoosiers. I think you guys are probably right. So we'll lock you in for the 3.
Well, that definitely worries me, but I think I'm going to have to tail them with Cincinnati.
Yeah, and plus, but you're getting a better number now, which, again, though, now you're thinking, well, who was it that came in and took all the 4s out and moved it down? And even at Chris, it went to 3 minus 115 on the Cincinnati side. So I'm very intrigued. I'm just going to sit back, hopefully enjoy what's a good game, but it seems like no one's betting the Hoosiers outside of the random person that did today that moved the line. But anyone I've talked to, they're on the other side. So we'll see what happens.
All right, man. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Take care. Vic B, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm all right, Preston. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. What do you got for us today?
Good. So I saw a line that kind of stood out to me. I really don't quite understand it. What do you have, Kentucky versus Chattanooga?
I have not been betting FCS. So I cannot give you my number, but I can check with someone while we're live. 1 second. Is there even a line for it up? I'm not seeing it on my screen. What do you see?
Yeah, well, I saw it on Scores and Odds. I saw a line on it. And, I just scrolled through some of the college lines, and that one just, was like,
I know
wow.
FanDuel sometimes goes up earlier. Let me see if I can get a price.
But, yeah, Scores and Odds had it 20, and that just seems, awfully low. That's very low. Kentucky's got a great running game, and their quarterback's been Levis kid has been solid. I see them beating them by 40.
I'm going to have Qwan pull up Don Best for the sake of looking at every single line possible. When I'm doing the show, I just have a free version of the screen that shows limited books, but kind of covers the top 10 or 12. I'm also looking at a different site now. I haven't seen a line, and if the app is saying 20, that seems like you would want to lay the 20 points with Kentucky against Chattanooga.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we'll get to the bottom of this.
I think they'll double that.
30.5.
30.5. That's more like it. Unless I misread it, Scores and Odds had that thing 20. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's just sometimes weird API glitch going through an app that's pulling from something that's just wrong. That'll happen occasionally.
Has to be a glitch.
There is an actual book offering 30.5 if you still wanted to bet it.
No, I mean, not necessarily. I'm gonna probably take some action on something tonight. I just saw that on Scores and Odds, and if you check it, it literally says 20, and it just stood out like a sore thumb. I knew something wasn't right. But so I'm gonna do something similar to what I did the other night. That didn't quite work for me. The other day, when someone called in and took the Reds, and then I ran with the Reds with the money line, with the run line, and they almost covered. So I'm gonna see what they are minus the 1.5 tonight.
Pulling it up now, I can give you plus 120 on the Reds, minus the 1.5.
All right. So I'm going to go with the Reds minus 1.5, plus 120.
Cool. We'll lock you in, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man. I'll be calling in later.
Yep, sounds good. Who Wants to Be Betting Extraordinary in about 15 to 20
Exactly.
minutes.
Exactly.
We'll go
All
live
right.
with that. We clear? I need to take a few minutes to go through totals. Look, I don't have a ton of totals that stick out, and two that I've actually mentioned throughout the week moved today. So hopefully people picked up on it during the week. One was the Florida-Alabama. Now that's up to 59.5. And the other was the Temple-Boston College, which was as high as 59, mostly 58.5 at the end. I know that went down today with Jerkovich being out for Boston College on the quarterback side and Temple just being likely a disaster, although they ended up running it up on Akron somehow. I don't know. I have no idea what to expect from Temple, but I imagine it'll be fewer plays, more conservative play calling in general from the Boston College side. So those are two that moved, but there's two others that I thought were worthwhile. And I think, the other one we talked about was it Ty that called in yesterday. He wanted to know the UCLA Fresno State, if I thought the over was worthwhile. And that was one of like two that I thought were good as of yesterday to 63 or better. And I'm pulling it up now to see where we're at with the total. There's still 63s. There's a 162.5. So that's a buy. Fresno State UCLA over. And we talked about that yesterday. The other one, did you see or watch any of the Texas A&M game against Colorado?
No.
You didn't? So their guy, King, kind of like dual threat-ish, like stud prospect, gets hurt. I don't know if it was like the first or second play. I'm pretty sure it was the first series, though. And they were losing 7-3 until the very end of the game to Colorado, who's not good. You know, A&M was like a 17-point favorite, maybe even moved to 17.5 at close, if I recall. I don't know how they're scoring with this guy. Yeah. King's out for like at least 6 to 7 weeks, it sounds like. They're going up against New Mexico. How are they going to score on A&M's defense on the road here? The spread's still gone up really high. It went from like 26 to as high as 30 now some places, but 50.5 and 50s. Those two numbers, bettable under. I absolutely think they're going to try to and should have success running the ball. They just haven't been able to run the ball. That's the thing. You bring in the backup quarterback, you're playing Colorado. It's like, all right, we're Texas A&M. Like, we should be able to get the run game going. They couldn't, which is somewhat worrisome, but they will against New Mexico, and I imagine they'll hang their hat on that side, run fewer plays, at least, run the clock off. And I just look, New Mexico's not scoring much, if at all. So that's one that should probably be closer to 47, in my opinion, with the potential downgrade from King to this backup. Name start with a C, Castellazzo, something like that. Not to offend his family or anything, he wasn't good. Not very good throwing the football. So that one, UCLA over, and then the other two, which we talked about earlier in the week. Look, that Bama, and again, I was clearly wrong. People did want to bet Florida at the 15.5, 15. Again, that's not a huge move to 14.5. 15 is not a very key number regardless, but that did move on the Gators side. But the over now up at 59.5. I think it should be closer to 60, and that's where it's almost settled. And hopefully, by the way, I think like Pikachu really loved that Temple BC under, finally moving his way down to 57.5 a few spots. If you still like it there and you think the backup quarterback for Boston College is a bigger drop-off, I bet you he would, and we'll have him on tomorrow for tail ends. He just sent in while we were doing the show his 3 plays for tomorrow. I bet you he would still like it at 57.5. And if he's listening right now, he can give me an okay or thumbs up. But I'm pretty sure he was more mid, like 54 range. So just something to consider. And there was one other one I was looking at that I thought was interesting. From a sheer model perspective, I am right at 63. And this is Nebraska, Oklahoma. And we just talked about how Rattlers missed like all his deep throws with Colin yesterday. He needs to bounce back. Pikachu did say yes, 57.5, still good. Play it under. He said fire, good to 55.5. I don't know about that, but he said good to 55.5. So theoretically, it's still good everywhere. Nebraska, Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma defensively, giving up 35 to Tulane. What Nebraska can do, obviously, with their offense, it's really hit or miss. Depends on if Martinez is turning it over or not. Hopefully he's not as frequently. And there's been talk, and Colin mentioned it, they're like corners can hang with Oklahoma's offense, at least to some degree. I'm not sure about that. I know they looked okay so far, but really, let's be honest, they lost to Illinois.
They didn't look good.
They looked good against Buffalo, but congrats, I guess. Like Buffalo's like reshaping their whole program, at least to some extent. One thing, though, Riley and Oklahoma offenses go back, and it's not necessarily because they're always blowing teams out, but their offenses sputter pretty heavily. Stark first half versus second half. Teams kind of figure out what they're going with because it's like this kind of new offense. It's tough to prepare for. You see it right away first half, and Oklahoma's playing with more tempo, but you've seen teams in Tulane almost did it. Come back in second halves down 21 against Oklahoma because the Sooners like stop scoring. I'm a little concerned about that because this also should be about a 21, 22-point game is the spread, implied spread. First half over 31.5. Nebraska, Oklahoma. I like that. I think there's some 32s. I think both are fine. 32 is not a very key number, but I'd prefer that to the full game. But I do think, again, I'm more like 63, so not much of an edge versus the minus 110, but I do think there's a downside to the OU defense so far after seeing Tulane and in like kind of overrated Nebraska defense after holding Buffalo to 3. Like, hold your horses. I think Oklahoma and Rattler, who has been sputtering, hasn't completed one pass, Colin said, out of 10 tries, 20 yards or further. He's 0 for 10 on any deep ball. Like, he can hit some balls down the field. It's not like Nebraska's defense is elite and their secondary is elite. So if any of that regresses and they hit a few of those deep passes, Oklahoma's offense should perform even better as well. Again, prefer first half. But that's the last one. Those are the totals for the week. Qwan was intrigued. I haven't done first halves yet. There's a few times that it just makes more sense than a full game. There's not a ton of spots offering first half, but there's 4 or 5 that are reputable that people can start betting it. And I will say this. The last few years, Circa started opening lines for college football on Sundays and totals. And they get beat in early. Everyone starts copying. By Monday, the totals market, like they're pretty available. In the past, they wouldn't go up till like Tuesday. So I was like, hey, let's do Wednesday totals. I think what we're going to do going forward, because there were a few totals that moved early in the week that I could have talked about, didn't end up doing it. So to ensure you guys to try to get maximum opportunity, we're going to move the totals day back to Tuesdays. So we'll do sides Monday, my totals Tuesday. Gives us an extra 24 hours of potential value. Again, there were a few that moved today, 2 primarily that I had circled and kind of touched on earlier on the week. So hopefully people were paying attention and did get involved. But if you didn't, we're going to go officially Tuesdays for totals. Qwan doesn't even know this yet, so he's taking notes. And then Wednesday we'll have a guest, whether it's Colin or whoever else. But I think that'll be better. And for the listeners, for people that are actually betting some of the stuff that I bring up, you'll get more value betting totals on Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday evening versus Wednesday. So seems pretty straightforward to me. Couple more minutes. If we have any more calls, we'll leave the lines open. But if not, we can wrap it up and go to day one of who wants to be a betting extraordinaire. I haven't even told Qwan the question yet. I was going to rap with you about it because it's baseball. It's all we got. By the way, do you know if Tone's soccer play won live? I was going to check that. See if it's like 3-0 yet against him. Oh, yeah, he lost 1-0. Poor guy. Real Madrid up 1-0. So not even like a draw, just basically dead. So baseball, a few games already started. We need to make this as easy as possible, get as many people through day one as possible. So I think we got to do favorites. But I don't want to do like there's a minus 326 Dodgers favorite. There's a minus 221 Philadelphia. So I think we'll do that like minus 120s, 30s pocket. 4 options. That'll be our question for betting extraordinary today. So you guys theoretically have like not quite 60%, but 57% chance if I do like a minus 130, 56.5% chance to get through. And we should have more than like 1 out of 17 going through like last time Carlos ran it. So just wanted to break that down a little bit. No calls, right?
Nope.
Cool. We'll wrap up last word, Cheetah. Appreciate everybody that did call in. I thought it was really a good convo, actually, on a few of those calls. That was one of the better days with callers, which I love that we have football because you guys are talking through NFL, college football, and everything else. Just more intriguing, more engaging content, and I appreciated it. So tomorrow we'll be back, same time, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Last word, Cheetah. Betting extraordinaire coming in a few minutes, and at 3 Pacific in about an hour. Steam Morning, Right Angle, releasing another college football bet. Again, in about an hour, you guys can tune in for that. Different streams, different links. So at Sportscheetah, they'll go live on my Twitter feed. See you guys soon.